In today's video, we're going to be showing you what we believe to be the most commonly scored goals in FM24, as well as how we think you can help create those goals in your team by setting up the right overloads in the right formation, or by tweaking the right roles and instructions at an individual level. This video is the follow-up then to our Talking Tactics showcase that we put out just a few days ago on our channel, and if you haven't seen that one, we will link it at the end. So here's what's going to happen then. We're going to step through essentially a top 10 most modal goals. Now that's not to say the easiest goals to score in the game, it's not how you cheese FM24, but really the ones that we see time and time again. We'll talk about what roles play out in those scenarios and give our XG. That's our take on what the shot to goal ratio is for those goals rather than the real life variable. But before we start, we just wanted to say, if you are new here, welcome aboard the good ship FM Immoral. We're getting closer to 10k now in terms of subscribers, so thank you very much. And boy, have we got a butt ton of content on the way. We've got at least 4 videos coming out in September, and that's ahead of any of the FM25 news breaking as well. We're going to have a competition where you could win one of 5 copies of FM in amongst all of that lot. And there's going to be a homage to Soccer AM in amongst it too. Intriguing. So if you like the sound of all of that, or if you want to see more videos like this one, then get your thumbs out. Right, let's get into it. Now, we did have the intention of bringing Mr. Tactics board out again for this one, but mainly because we just love it. It's like the board game version of FM15 on the 2D camera mode, but it's probably easier if we just talk it through on the actual FM24 game, right? First up then, at number 10, it's the front post header from a corner. In order to engineer these, you simply need to choose the correct footed player to hit an outswinger at a massive bloke on the front stick. 0.16 XG by our reckoning, pretty simple stuff. Next up, it's the edge of the box pile driver, and who better from the Chelsea legends of 2008 to showcase this one but Steve Sidwell. Lovely stuff, Steve. Now, in order to get these ones going, it's all about having a few playmakers or central midfielders on support, so that when you are piling on the pressure, these boys have the time and space in arriving later, and of course the long shots attribute above 12 helps here as well. I'd say the majority of long shots I see dispatched in this game from around this range are low drives akin to these. Sometimes they deflect in as well, and we'll give it 0.21 XG in our humble opinion. Next up at number 8, it is the far post header. Now let me tell you, whilst we're going in order of XG for the goal as we progress here, we must say that the most common amongst our saves this year has been this very goal. Hence we put out this video talking about jumping reach being seriously overpowered in FM24. Now the Shevchenko goal here is probably the most archetypal of the far post headers that we've seen on this game. But in our Marseille save, we were the absolute Bonce brigade when it came to scoring headed goals. It's a simple recipe as well: wing backs with good crossing, an advanced forward with good physicals, and above all, over 15 jumping reach, and mixed crosses. That's all you need. And we lifted the Champions League trophy thanks to this bloke here, Jovan Milosevic, an absolute cheat code of a human being who I think is probably our favourite player for FM24, and he just put them in every single time you whipped it to the back post. He was an unstoppable force with his bonce. This is 0.27 XG for us. Now, what we're going to do next is actually wrap up a few of the miscellaneous goals that go in on this game. So 2 of the most modal goals I would have to say are the deflections/rebounds. There's another back post header, by the way, well done Martins. And penalties, let's be honest, they go in quite a lot. There's another random rebound goal. We are watching a 4-4 draw in the Tyne Weir derby in 2008, by the way. This goal from Martin's the pick of the lot, but that one is not modal in any way, shape or form. That's a solo wonder goal. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about how you can prevent the deflections and the rebounds, because it's quite possibly the most frustrating thing to come up against in this game, where you can't really defend or predict where the ball is going to go. There's a bit of pinball buggery that screws you over. I think this is a good example. Yeah, there's another couple of deflections. It lands to Connolly and he equalises. Or brings them level, and Hearts just equalised by the looks of things. But that was a fucking rollercoaster of a match. Now we'll talk about how you can score more penalties, or certainly win more penalties later on, but actually we're going to talk about what you can do to prevent them, and I'm going to take you to a very unknown or very little known area of your goalkeeper's profile, and there's a couple of metrics here: saves tipped, saves parried and saves handled, or held actually, which I think will allude to whether or not your goalkeeper is catching the ball. So parries and tips are your difficult saves. This will be your penalty saves, by the way, but also the ones that kind of tip a free kick around the post or block a very close by shot, because if you've got a goalkeeper that couldn't even catch a cold, you're going to concede a lot more rebounds and deflected goals. Right, those two were a bit of a cop-out, but in at number 6, we've got the channel through-ball goal. Now, this is often scored by your advanced forward, but it can also be scored by an advanced playmaker moving into channels as well, and we're going to give it a 0.29 XG, so we're getting up there now. And this one will occur probably when you're on the counter-attack first and foremost, but when you're facing a high line as well. So it really does play off the defence of the opposition more so than anything that we've seen so far in our list, and yeah, it's typically a through ball that goes slightly right of centre, so moves into those inside right or inside left channels that we spoke about in our last video, and is dispatched first time by an approaching striker or advanced playmaker. So have an AP behind an AF with move into channels clicked, and if you can get a striker who has first time shots, maybe sitting in front of a DLP with tries killer balls often, then you'll be laughing. Okay, so we're into the top 5 now, and at 0.31 XG, so a little under 1 in 3 of these go in by our measurement, we have what we're calling the one more man over. Now, you'll have experienced this one a good few times in FM24, we reckon. You've got a man in space, he collects the ball. Is he going to shoot? No, he's going to square it. That exact thought process repeats 3 or 4 times in a single passage of play, but eventually one of your boys does decide to shoot. Setting yourself up for this one then, well, pay attention to the bit on attacking the 5 channels that we go over in this video that we'll link at the end. Oh, and select the work ball into the box button, I guess. At number 4, we're giving this a 0.41 XG, and it's the edge of the box throughy, and it's in the central channel this time as opposed to one of the inside channels. This is probably the pick of the bunch for beautiful goals. A lovely dink from Tim, and honestly I think the only way to really architect this is to have 3 fairly narrow attacking players. It's really similar in terms of what you need to score these goals. You need that first time shot striker, you need that deep lying playmaker with the tries killer balls, but it's just about the positioning of the player, the central position rather than the channel position. And the more of these green lines you can establish in your tactic, the more chance of these wonder goals going in for you. Technically, next up at number 3, it is penalties, which will actually give a 0.7 XG as opposed to the in-game variable, as we've seen so many pens saved in FM24. Now, maybe that is because we had Alban Lafont in goals for the majority of the time. What an absolute babe he is. What I must say I enjoyed about FM24's penalties, though, was the off-the-ball incidents being picked up by the referee. Kudos to SI on that one. Now, the 2 most modal goals in Football Manager 2024 are quite simply the byline square and the byline cutback. You will recognise both of these as I show them to you, so essentially to set these up you need inverted wingers or advanced playmakers both playing off a single man up front. We recommend the Christmas tree formation that we disclosed in this video, which is our overpowered 5-2-2-1 formation. But the crucial in-possession tactical setup then is shorter passing, higher tempo, slightly narrower, and yeah, again, it's just bringing those two players into the inside channels, either by playing them as inside forwards, inverted wingers, or advanced playmakers on either flank, with sit narrower. If you do want to engineer this one from a little wider, you can hit low crosses as well, but we'll give this a 0.81 xg. Well, there we have it, the 10 most commonly observed goals in FM24, together with a touch of tactical know-how, to round off our Talking Tactics two-parter. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, it's a good watch. Go check it out, and be sure to let us know in the comments if you are expecting to see another goal type in this countdown that we haven't covered off. That'll do it for today's video though, folks, so hope you've enjoyed it. There's plenty more videos on the way, believe me. So until next time, my friends, adios.